Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I had someone come in and make a statement in one of my Jason Gallant videos, and he's basically saying, look, you shouldn't be attacking someone when you admit you know very little about them, very little about their work, based upon limited information. And let's talk about that for a minute, because I want to talk to people about the difference between open-mindedness and ignorance when it comes to training concepts. So let me put on my +5 out of weaponsmithing, skill at my crafting a little bit, and yeah, let's delve into this. All right, guys, when you get a limited amount of information about someone, and the information you do get that they're putting out, you know goes against what most top experts in the world know about injury prevention, strength, everything else, yeah, it's time to step back and say, hey, wait a minute, if this is a concept you're pushing and people are telling me you're pushing this concept, all I need to know is that you're pushing this concept. I don't need to know everything else about your work. I'm sorry, I just don't, when it's a concept that is actually dangerous and counterproductive. And that's not about open-mindedness. That's about being educated versus ignorant at that point. Particularly when it comes to something like partial reps. Partial reps have no place in training other than sports-specific applications in which you're trying to nail a joint angle specificity. They are not ideal for muscle growth. If you're just trying to get big, no, you shouldn't be doing partial reps. You need to be doing full range of motion reps. You need to be strengthening the joints. The fact that someone would have a concept called train the muscles, not the joints, is absurdly ignorant. And that's not closed-minded to say that. That's stepping back saying, wait a minute, dude. No. Joint strength and joint health and training joints through full range of motion to make them healthier is something people should be doing. You're teaching the exact opposite. You're teaching people to eventually get hurt with even talking about such a concept. Training your joints and your tendons is just as important as training your muscles. Probably more important in the long term. So yeah, these are things we need to address. And here's the difference when it comes to the whole open-mindedness versus closed-mindedness thing. You can be ignorant and be either open-minded or closed-minded. All right, you can be either one. For most of us, what we know, observing over the years, closed-minded ignorance is really annoying. When you have someone who is ignorant of entire concepts and they refuse to look at anything or hear anything about it because they choose to remain ignorant out of sheer closed-mindedness, it's annoying. It's often not harmful, but it can be very frustrating and annoying. It can be very frustrating and annoying. It absolutely can be. Open-minded ignorance, or people who perceive themselves as open-minded, is dangerous. These are the people who can be conned easily. People who are open-minded and ignorant are usually the people who the con man's going to nail every single time, or the people who are going to get hurt. And I mean, Jerry Ward thrives on that. A lot of these supplement companies thrive on that environment. Like Jerry Ward, you have to try it before you can say if it works or not. Really? I need to go spend $80 on this tub of shit and try it myself when I can look at the ingredient list already and look at the scientific data that's been in place for 30 years and tell you already if it builds muscle or not? I mean, it's kind of like these con men use that line. Don't knock it till you try it. Well, that's not open-mindedness, that's ignorance. That's preying on people's ignorance, because the open-minded person would say, okay, well, let me look at this product. What's in it? Oh, well, let me see if it's been researched or not. Let me go find independent studies. You know what? It turns out that the amount of that ingredient in there, taken in the doses that are there, doesn't show any muscle growth in studies. Oh, in fact, I found a whole meta-analysis. They've done 12 studies on it. And the researchers concluded they couldn't find a link between muscle growth or fat loss and the doses of that substance in the range that it's being put in that product. All right, that's open-mindedness. Let's say, okay, well, that sounds interesting. Let me go check it out. Let me go check it out myself. That's open-mindedness, true open-mindedness. The other is called gullibility. Gullibility. Oh, well, don't knock it till you try it. No, that's not being open-minded. That's being fucking ignorant. Try something but see if it works. You don't even go check to see how much research has been done on it. You don't go check to see what the top experts in the world have to say about it already. You just put it in your body, or you go do a training method. You don't go look to see If physical therapists who deal with athletes out there say that people get injured doing this at a higher rate with no extra muscle growth, you don't bother to check that? That would be true open-mindedness. Open-mindedness goes to look to see if there's a conflict among the experts in the world too. Hey, there's people in different areas arguing about this still, but it seems to be safe. I'm going to try it because there's no definitive answer, because I see experts over here saying it works, experts over here saying they don't think it works. Well, since there's a debate among them, I'm going to see if it works for me. That would be true open-mindedness. But to just go do something and not even see what people are saying about it as far as the top authorities in the world looking at data, research on it before you just do something randomly, do something to your body. You go run a training style without even looking to see if it hurts you in the long term. You go put a substance into your body without even checking to see if it's actually ever been associated with muscle growth ever, or if it's got liver toxicity. No, you just put it in your body. Come on, guys. That's not open-mindedness. Open-mindedness with ignorance leads to monkey see, monkey do. And this entire fitness industry thrives upon that. Yeah, go do partial reps. Well, really, did anyone go research what doing lots of partials does? What do top athletic trainers feel about that? What do they feel about not training exercises through the full range of motion that the joint can safely move through? What do they say about how it affects mobility and joint health? Someone says, hey, you should be training the muscles, not the joints. We'll go do some research on it. Go see what the top athletic trainers and sports rehab therapists and sports physicians and people with PhDs in exercise science who train champions around the world. Go look and see what they have to say about that before you just jump in and imitate some jackass because he's a bodybuilder. And that should never be proof. When we're talking about something in the human body like that, these are areas that we can measure and quantify. It's not a great mystery. All right, that's no different than someone saying, I'm not going to listen to a medical doctor. I've got this swelling down here and he's telling me it's something with my appendix. I'm going to ignore it. No, you don't ignore shit like that. No, you don't go do homeopathy when you have an appendix about to burst. You go get a doctor to remove that shit. The human body is not as big of a mystery as bodybuilders seem to think it is. We can quantify and study these things. Muscle growth has been heavily studied at this point. All right, there's been a lot of money thrown at it. We kind of know how the body responds to different training. There's billions of dollars at stake in the sports world. Billions and billions of dollars. We can't afford as an industry for exercise science to not know how the body responds to training. So when you just trying something to see if it works, why would you do that? Why would you do that? Because some bodybuilder tells you that it does. The problem is that bodybuilding is often full of such nonsense that when you go compare what many bodybuilders say to what the top athletic trainers in the world do, who are looking at all the research science and then trudging in the field with top level athletes who, if they don't gain the extra muscle to make that weight class, they're losing $1 million. All right, you go look at what they're saying, people who have real money and real careers at stake versus a silly supplement-inspired bodybuilding industry, and you're going to see a big difference. And you want proof that just being and having an amazing physique doesn't mean that you know anything. You guys remember years ago Flex Wheeler, considered to have one of the greatest physiques in bodybuilding in spite of all the synthol? You guys remember him? I watched an interview with him training before, and he came in and trained with just a bunch of fluff. And when he was talking, he had to stop in the middle of the interview and rethink in his head how many heads the deltoid had. He didn't even know for sure how many heads your deltoids had, because he was talking about you got to train each of the individual heads separately, but then he had to stop and think about it. He couldn't even remember how many heads the deltoid had. So you got 3 or 4. Yeah, it's 3. That's how fucking ignorant he was. He was so fucking ignorant that he was talking about you got to train each head of a muscle, but he couldn't even remember how many heads that important muscle that he trains every week had in it. Yet he looked insanely impressive. If that's your criteria for listening to someone when it comes to something regarding the human body and the way the human body responds to things, come on, guys. And this, don't knock it till you try it. Let's not look at anything first. Let's just jump in and do it. That's called ignorance, not open-mindedness. That's the same ignorance like you guys go look at Jerry Ward and him pushing that stuff. That would be like someone saying, well, hey, Jerry Ward also survived heroin as a heroin junkie, and he talks about it all the time in New Bane, so maybe it's safe to give my children heroin. That's the level of ignorance you're talking about with monkey see, monkey do. And instead of saying, maybe I should go research and see if heroin kills people or not before I inject it. That's actually a perfect example of all this stuff, because we are talking about things that affect your body in a real way. How do you know that supplement works? How do you know it won't actually hurt you? You done any research to see what doses become liver toxic of it? Did you even research it before you put it in your body? Did you research if that training method actually damages joints or causes muscle tears for a certain percentage of people who do it, and then it doesn't even cause more muscle growth? Did you bother to research it, or did you just be monkey see, monkey do and jump in and try it? Think on that one for a minute, and I want someone to tell me how that is any different from, hey, heroin's okay, try it, and injecting it in your body. I want someone to explain to me how that's any different. You're still risking damaging your body. You're still risking killing yourselves because you just tried something without bothering to do 10 minutes of fucking research first. And then people want to call that open-mindedness. That's not open-mindedness. That's sheer fucking ignorance. Sheer fucking ignorance. And it's scary inside this community how bad it is. Alright guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.